before we do anything specific, before we start talking about specific things, tingnan muna natin yung standings. Alright? So, let's paint a picture for the people who did not get to watch as much MPL over the weekend. Guys, ito yung score. Okay? After ng week 3, Echo still undefeated. TNC, close second. Medyo nahirapan yung RSG. Man, did anything change drastically here? Well, you casted a fair share amount of your games this week.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I would say that LAN definitely affected the players. Kumbaga, makikita natin that some of them played better, some of them played the same, but a lot of them mararamdaman mo na parang, wow, hindi sila masyadong prepared sa ganitong setup and they're still adjusting, and that's normal. I feel like after 2 years of playing in your bootcamp, that's normal. Kahit mga ibang veterano, mararamdaman mo na maninibago sila sa ganong klaseng setup, and hopefully by week 4, a few days from now, medyo nakapag-adjust na sila. But men, ang nagugulat ako is Bren Esports still winless.
Carlos, what's that like? At least for you guys over on the journalism side, what kind of angle are you painting? Anong itsura ng MPL Philippines Season 9 sa inyo looking at these scores?
Well, if you look at the scores, it's actually interesting on our point of view as journalists, because we have this opportunity to interview yung mga players. We get to know the impact of the LAN event from the players as well as the coaches. For example, when I interviewed Coach Panda, after his match against Echo, he said that the reason why they struggled against TNC was because, number one, hindi pa sila gaano kasanay sa LAN setting. Parang they're trying to fix their comms pa sa LAN setting. So that explained why medyo nahirapan sila against TNC. And speaking of TNC, this is their first LAN event, and they're relatively a new team based on their roster, yet they actually played pretty well. Their shot calling against RSG was perfectly done. And then for the side of Bren, we've already witnessed that they have some issues with their comms, on a online setting, and then it actually carried on. That's what I heard from Paolo Expert and from Joy Boy during the post-match press conference. So it really just shows that there's really a lot of experience that Bren really needs to learn, and hopefully they could get that from this offline setting.
Which is perfect. Let's go into the recap here. On screen right now playing is the first match of the weekend, RSG versus TNC. Interesting to, kasi yung TNC, kalahati niyan nasa Bren eh. Diba? Their old teams. We're talking about Archangel, right? So, basically, ang nangyari sa kanila is yung kalahati na napunta sa TNC, batak sa LAN. They're okay. Pero yung sa Bren, there's something else going on. And if you're talking about teams that kind of struggled, na-mention mo na nga, Carlos, na Coach Panda admitted that his team, they were just not as ready to play on site, and that's what's happening to RSG here. Ito yata yung game na parang hindi naglaro si Demon Kite dahil dun sa Franco ni Bentings.
Man, I don't know. For me, RSG is in the middle in terms of LAN. Coach Panda might have said na parang hindi pa sila prepared sa LAN setup, but I feel like they did okay. Imagine if okay na sila sa LAN, what else could they do? Because I think Light definitely stepped up in this week. He's one of the players that feeling ko criticized talaga kasi Season 8 performance niya was really bad with TNC. But right now, he's doing really well. And I would say that Bentings and Light proving that everybody rather na hindi sila dapat nasa iisang team, because both of them are starting players talaga.
Yeah, and I think yung Season 8 experience nga nila ay medyo learning experience, no? Oh my God, look at that. Escalera's game sense and awareness. Let's go into the second series of day number 1. Dito natin makikita yung tunay na on-site buff. More on that later, because we do have a topic talking about what being on-site is all about. But this is a game wherein Friday night prime time to eh.
Oo, ito yung naging finals, men.
Oo, ML kung ML, di ba? Onyx and Omega took it to game number 3. Pero dito natin nakita yung unang pasabog ni Omega na parang on-site is different. We are a different team when it comes to on-site. Carlos, did you have any conversations with Omega?
Oh, this happened on day one, so I didn't have any conversations with Omega. But based on what I saw in this Omega Onyx game, I have to say I did not expect Omega to push Onyx to the limit. I did not. I was thinking that, Omega might be that team that's on the decline because MPL Season 8 playoffs, they were okay, but teams were able to adapt to their antics, and an MPL Invitational, it was the same story. So I really had no high hopes for Omega, against Onyx PH. I was expecting Onyx might have a clean sweep, or maybe Onyx will go for 2-1, but it's going to be like a pretty solid game 3 for Onyx PH. But in the end, Omega just surprised us. I mean, their defensive stance at the very end, they did live up to their moniker as the comeback kings. I cannot forget that moment. Like, Hatred did the right thing, jumped straight to the action. Kelro was like, I got my Demon Hunter sword. I'm just gonna destroy Kyrie with his Aulus. I got so much life steal and HP, and I'm just going. And it led to that final push. Like, I was surprised. I was deeply shocked that they were able to pull it off. And what's even more surprising was they made it consistent the entire week. Like, it translated all the way to NXT.
Yeah, well, 2 matches lang naman, pero malaking bagay yun, coming from a huge slump, right? And then na-unlock pa nga yung new mechanic or yung, I don't know, untapped mechanic ni Lord, wherein you can change his targeting. I'm pretty sure that's something Pakbet or the players picked up along the way scrimming with other countries. But yeah, there's no shortage of content and analysis and reactions from the casters about this match, okay? Sobrang init ng laban na to, sobrang worth it panoorin. We'll talk more about Omega and how they did this and how they are faring on site later on. But let's go into day number 2. And day number 2 opened with a heartbreak for Bren Esports fans, but nag-celebrate ang madlang agents because this was Blacklist's first series win.
Yeah, definitely. This is something that agents love to see. Isa sa mga, I think this is the first win of Blacklist. Naalala ko doon, nag-tweet pa sila Kiel, sila Edward na nakaisa na rin sa wakas. And for world champions to have like a losing streak, I feel like it's common to see. Kasi everybody's looking at you eh. Kumbaga, everybody wants to beat you. And now that, again, alam ko, lagi nating nababanggit, wala na yung VYs, it's a different Blacklist. It's something that is have a different identity, iba din yung meron silang maibibigay. It's like same but different. Kumbaga nandun pa rin naman yung tatlong MVPs, yung MV3s natin. But then again, the overall play style of Blacklist International this season is very different. They're still trying to find what works for them. They found it in this game, but hopefully, I mean, let's just say that Bren Esports is perhaps the weakest team right now in the current state of MPL Season 9. They need to find that same element of success that they got in this match against stronger teams. And based on the schedule this week, alam ko may isa lang silang laro this week. But I'll check on that right now.
Yeah, so they get to focus, right? So use what they got here, maybe even against what they got against RSG, tapos just really focus it in. Wonderdrift, sorry, Carlos, you were here second day, right? Were you on site on the second day?
Yes, I was there on the second
Nakausap
day.
mo ba yung Blacklist?
Yes. Okay, so here's what I learned from Blacklist International. I mean, I interviewed Coach Bonchan and Coach Dexstar. So I asked them, like, why did they go for the game plan? Like, they made that shift. Kasi, remember, parang Coach Bonchan was super stubborn with, like, yung ube niya, and with Kevier playing like some wisest heroes. Pero ngayon, nag-assassin na siya. And they realized that it really fits Kevier very well. And then, they actually made Kevier into a finisher because, it makes sense for them that you have guys like Haji and Oheb like protecting him and like doing most of the dirty work. And because of Kevier's like low HP, or he's not really the most the most survivable of all the heroes. So parang ginawa na lang siyang finisher, which I think was a really good call for Coach Bonchan. Like, overall, he's done a good job, Coach Bonchan, in terms of like deciding on what tactics to use or deciding on what kind of lineup to use, for Season 9. I mean, it's still way below the VY's tandem that we know of Blacklist, but it's a good start for Blacklist. It's really a good start for them.
Yeah, and I think they did well to recover from their losses last week, no? And one of their most, how do I say, painful losses was against Echo. Echo swept RSG. This match was also super entertaining. If I'm not mistaken, si Naiso nagcast nito, so nanood lang ako dito. And I had high hopes, pero wala. Yung Echo, ayaw patigil eh. Like, wala. Once they find that opening, oh God, Prime Carl TZ. Wami, do you believe this is Prime Carl TZ?
Yeah, I'm not even sure at this point because all of them seem to be playing so good that you can't just single out one person sa Echo. Maybe may times na pwede mong i-single out yung mga ginagawa ni Kurt TZ, but the fact that the other people is doing so much na ganun din yung level. Ang hirap maghanap ng MVP. Like, pumunta ka sa mga Echo games na papanoorin mo, it's so hard to find that one person na maraming ginawa. So all of them did what they had to do in a certain level that's always going to be S tier. And eto nakikita niyo yung mechanics yung mga ganun, hindi lang kasi siya macro eh. Like the micro from this team, the team fighting that they have, target selection, all of them is really great. And Echo right now, tinawag natin sa Echo Express for having fast games, but statistically speaking, average yung game speed nila. Ang pinaka nagpapabilis ng mga ginagawa nila is their ability to win skirmishes and team fights, transitioning into objectives na nagmumukha lang mabilis on their end. Because, ewan ko correct me if I'm wrong na lang, what I feel is they could finish some games faster, but they tend to play around a little bit in terms of safety. Parang alam nila na kaya nilang tapusin to, but instead of giving the chance sa kalaban nila na makapag-comeback pa, sige, next Lord na lang, kaya naman natin ulit jump again in the next team fight. Ganun lang kasimple yung nila. And even from behind, early game, may times na nabe-behind yung Echo Philippines.
True.
Pero Carl TZ, alam niyang paano pumuesto eh. Like everybody else would just give that opening to Carl, especially on this Olus pick, and then suddenly Echo Express is back on track. So ano na gagawin mo? Like Echo right now is so powerful that I could compare it to I would say season 7, season 8 Blacklist na imbes na defensive, it's the ultimate spear. Kumbaga ultimate shield yung Blacklist season 7, season 8. Echo right now is the ultimate spear. Any type of defense, they're gonna pierce through it.
Ito yung baka onsing laro bago matalo. Kasi legit, TNC pa lang yata nagpapahirap sa kanila eh.
Just
and
one
even
game.
That
They only
was a
dropped
close
one game.
That's it. Just the TNC, right?
Yeah.
Just the TNC. And you dropped so many bits of knowledge, so much insight. I could name like half a dozen things you just mentioned and they're all huge topics. But there's one thing I want to ask to Carlos right now. Man, anong mas gusto mo? Talagang mabilis o mukha lang mabilis? Kasi yung Echo, yeah, you're right. I know this. It's 18-minute games. 18, 17 minutes. Pero, tama eh. Hindi sila talaga mabilis eh. Mukha lang mabilis. Kasi once they find that lock, once they find the bite, they don't let go. Parang Gator roll. Kumbaga. Do you agree with that? Are they not that fast? Do they just look fast to you, Carlos?
They actually look fast for me. Because if you look at the way they play, there's a sense of strategy with their movements. Like, if you study 3 Martizi with the way he dissects the opposition, if you study Carl TZ with his entrances, you study Yaoi, there's really like a science behind the way Echo PH engages with their clashes. Now, there are cases na talagang behind sila at the early game. Like this match against RSG. Na RSG played really, really well at the early game. But Echo knew that they can actually time their best at the middle or the latter stages of the game, which is what happened against Blacklist nung Johnson Kadita play nila. Like, sure, Blacklist has a counter-attacking game plan, but tina-timing lang nila eh, Sure, they're very flashy, they're very fun to watch, but they know their timings really well. And that's what makes this team so scary. Like, they may look broken at the start, but all of a sudden, they're the ones making you look broken by the latter stages of the game.
Yeah. Alam nila yung timing. You're right. It's a lot of micro, to be honest. I'm still recovering from... Like, every time I watch an Echo game, parang pagod na pagod ako. Because, legit, they are a 90-minute film that makes it seem like it's 4 hours. But it just feels fast. We'll see how they go from week 3 onwards. Let's close off day number 2. Ito na ang huling laban ng Saturday Night Fever ML. Omega versus Next Play Evos. Bukas pa pala, next day pa pala yung Onyx. Omega versus Next Play Evos. Ito hype to eh. Battle of the Masterminds. Honestly, nung pinapanood ko siya, hindi ko na siya ina-analyze eh. Wait, yeah, I didn't cast this. I was a panel here, and I just wanted to enjoy what was happening. And wala eh. I can't analyze it. It's just I was just watching it as a fan.
And itong game na to, I think it's always El Piso, Rene J, no? Kasi minsan nakikita natin na iba yung tank, iba yung mid lane nila, it's going to be Yelly Haze. But I feel like El Piso, Rene J is a duo that's a little bit underrated this season. The way that they communicate and execute with each other, kakaiba. We could see that, I think, not even in week 3. It was in week 2, nung nag-debut yung El Piso, Rene J duo. Kawawa yung gold lane ng kalaban. Kasi they know how to rotate ng magkasabay and they know how to sync up their crowd control to the point na hindi talaga makakagalaw yung kalaban. And that's super important. It's a basic concept, but the mastery of El Piso and Rene J over that concept in tower diving for NXP, he works so well for them. So, hindi na ako nagtataka na every time El Piso is in, Rene J is part of the lineup as well.
So yun na, no? We're slowly learning what Zico, how Zico's mind works. We're kind of seeing like what the lineups are, kahit na mag-iba-iba ka ng konti. But this night, nakaisa si Pacbet. Parang hindi na-solve ni Zico. Hindi siya nanalo sa Battle of the Masterminds.
Tumawa yung just... pubmat, man. Yung pubmat na 0-0-0 yung nilagay kay, sila patuloy yung naging 1.
Again, I think we're going into a new age of let's say banter. Dahil nga, nandiyan na tayo eh. On-site na tayo eh. I think folks in chat said it right. Sabi ni Daryl, yan. Mas balagbag pa yung week 4 kasi makakapag-adjust na yung players. Yes. Pati social media mag-a-adjust. Kasi kailangan na natin consider paano kung talo tayo. How do we bounce back from this? We have to save face. That was the last match of Saturday night. Let's go into day 3 here. We're opening up with nagutom ako, nauhaw ako, nalungkot ako nung inisip ko tong laban na to. Kasi I put myself in the shoes of TNC and hindi sila nakapag-ML. Specifically in this clip, they did not play the same game. Onyx did something that I've never seen them do. This is more violent than they did Banana Split Season 8. Honestly. Yeah. Game 2 and 3, ibang klase yun. Man. 2-1. Game 1, wag mo nang bilangin yung game 1 eh. TNC things lang yun eh. Pero this brand new style of choke. Carlos, did you watch this? It was disgusting what Onyx did.
Yep, indeed. I mean, I actually commend Coach Yeb for the tactical decisions he made in the series. Like, alam ng Onyx, yung win condition ng TNC is like to give SDZYZ the jungle. Like, he has to make sure that he secures that jungle. If that doesn't work, Yasuo is there to like provide that sort of like cover option together with Bentings and Escalera. But what Onyx did was really smart. Like, they denied SDZYZ the jungle. That's a very good win condition. And then they also capitalized on some flaws with the supports. Like, nung game 2, nakita natin yung supports ng TNC na wala silang masyadong defensive option. So Onyx was like, sige, rekta na lang natin. Wala tayong pake. Sugod lang natin si SD. And then yung matchup sa side lanes, like Onyx just sent TNC to school on the side lanes, which is very important to completely shut down TNC. And this is a good learning curve for TNC. Like, sure, you're new to the season and they need to learn how to like make some adjustments, like build something beyond like giving the entire jungle or making SDZYZ as like the king of the jungle. I mean, it works for them, but this is like a wake-up call that they need to introduce more like strategies for them, because in game 3 their adjustments were pretty good. Like, they choose Paquito and then they beefed up their defense with the Selena, but in the end Onyx was just too skilled for them. I mean, it's a good win for Onyx.
Yeah, just to add as well, like I feel like draft plays a major part whether or not the banana split works. If mapapansin natin yung game na to, wala masyadong wave tier si TNC. Yeah. And if you look at Onyx Philippines, they have so much siege, they have decent wave clear, great split pushing from the lane, doon pa lang makikita natin na maa-outpace talaga yung TNC in terms of rotations and managing the waves. And that's why things like this, yung mga 5-0, yung hindi na naglalaban, mauunahan talaga yung TNC. Draft pa lang, kita mo na mauunahan yung TNC sa Banana Split. And I feel like that is the new flavor of Banana Split kasi na-nerf na rin yung strategy na to because of recent updates. So Onyx PH could only do so much. Hindi katulad dati na kahit ibang hero yung gamit nila, mapapagana nila yung same strategy. But right now, it's very limited to the heroes that could rotate fast and push fast na hindi makakasabay yung wave clear ng kalaban. That's what I feel lang ngayon. Kasi na-nerf talaga yun eh. Yung Ube at Banana Split, ni-nerf yun ng Munton. So, huwag natin sisihin si Munton, it's normal. That's what happens to world champions. Normal na
Hindi lang na-nerf. Na-aral na siya. Regardless of what they change in the numbers or the mechanics, teams have adjusted. Teams have watched Season 8. The world has watched Season 8. So, that's what makes what Onyx did here all the more significant, right? So again, this is just something that Coach V, Coach Scholar, and everyone in the TNC bootcamp have to really figure out. Again, week 2 natuto sila. Let's not build all physical. Lugi tayo doon, Dreadnought armor lang sagot. This time around, I guess scaling, timing, and then just better coverage in the draft so this doesn't happen again. Let's go into the last series of the week. It's RSG versus Blacklist. And this one really, really did not disappoint. I could have sworn it was going to be a one-sided affair for either team. Not just one side for obviously the better record team. Pero Blacklist kasi nakahanap sila ng groove eh. Pero this time around, I think RSG also had to reset. RSG had to figure out again, sino tayo LAN? Sino tayo on-site? Kasi iba tayo. And eventually they found it. They won 2-1. But we'll cover more of the game 2 situation mamaya. I know that you guys want to talk about that jungle show in game number 2 more. But what exactly happened here? Could Blacklist have taken game 3? Was that a close one? I don't remember.
It was a close one. I think I casted this with Naisu. Game 3 was definitely something that Blacklist International could have won. But then again, Light stepped up. He knew what to do in the right situation.
Lord
Early
fight,
game lamang si Blacklist International. But when it came to objectives, Light found malaha GM3 pre. Nahanap niya yung core. And then masisipa niya babalik sa team. And that eliminates the chances of Blacklist International to have the retribution steal. Mainly because the guy holding your retribution is now dead because of the way of the dragon. So, game 3 was just Light going off late game. But I would say Blacklist International had fair chances to win that one. It's not because Kevier had bad positioning that time. It's more because Light had the flicker at the right time and had the guts and the micro ability to perform a highlight play.
I just noticed, hindi na pala nakalulita dito si Dexstar. That's how crazy or that's how macro I was watching this game. I wasn't even paying attention to the heroes specifically. It was more the storyline. I was paying attention to the storyline. Carlos, were you here for this or were you watching from home?
I was watching from home for this one. But yeah, I have to agree with Uyomi. Like Blacklist, RSG really had a strong early game. Okay, but Light's heroics just changed everything. Like, he was able to deny Kevier, which is a very important element for them to win this game. Because, nung una, akala ko, like, shucks, feeling ko mananalo Blacklist na to. Kasi, ang ganda ng early game ng Blacklist eh. Like Haji is showing his form, okay? And then, you have so many important factors. Edward with his glue did a really, really good job in this series. And Demon Kite was struggling, okay? And if you're an opposition and you're up against RSG, and if Demon Kite is struggling, that's actually good news for you because more often than not, Demon Kite is like the primary option for RSG PH. So for him to have that terrible early game, that's actually a good sign for Blacklist. It's just that Light really stepped up, and that actually introduces like the beauty of watching RSG PH. Like if before in season 8, you know, if Heath and Demon Kite don't really have a good early game, like you can say, oh, sige, kaya natin to, and then all of a sudden you have some random mistakes at the latter stages of the game. It just really punishes RSG. But in this game, they finally found some more alternatives. It's not just Demon Kite. Like swishing and dashing forward and back, all of a sudden you have someone else that could cover his back, and that's actually Light. And that's the beauty about Light. He's very flexible. Like, he can be a setup artist, he can be a counter-attacking threat, and we saw that this season.
Yeah. Actually, more on Light later. I think Uomi has a few bits on him and Nats. Pero tama yung chat eh. I love what Herandil said. At least, dahil sa nangyari this weekend sa RSG, medyo normal na yung KDA ni Eman.
No.
It sucks for him, it sucks for RSG, pero parang, come on dude, 52? It's not a normal number. People are sitting at like 13, 14, 15. Kids at 52. Pero, again, it's a learning process. RSG really grew this weekend. And, again, I think a major factor, and it's not just speculation, nabanggit na nga, straight from the horse's mouth, or the goat's mouth, talking about Brian Lim, Coach Panda, they really struggled with being on site. At your service, my name is Leo. Thank you for watching this recall segment. If you want to see more, click like and subscribe to Covenry.